Well, Mr. Hodges, I remember being a younger version of myself back in 1993, and I'm watching the NBA All Star Weekend, and Craig
Mm.
Hodges wins the 3-point shootout. And the interesting thing about that particular year is that you were not on an NBA roster at the
I didn't
time.
win that
You,
year. I didn't win that year.
what year am I referring to then?
No, you. I
Oh, I'm
won.
sorry. You competed that year. I'm sorry.
Yes, I
You were
competed.
you were in the 3-point contest,
I was
but
too
you were
mad.
not on the NBA.
I was too mad, man. If you look back, they gave me this red, white, and blue uniform to wear
I
with,
remember.
and I was like, man, if you look at my face before that competition, I was so mad. I was sitting there and when I look back at it, I started laughing when I seen it. I'm like, man, Hodge, ain't no way you was gonna be able to shoot like that, man. You sitting there, I was more ready to fight. Everybody sitting next to me, like, man, y'all know they dogging me out, but it was one of those things where you go ahead and do it. But once again, the training going into the competition totally different. I'm working
Yep.
in the high school, shooting jumpers in the high school
Right,
compared
right.
to having game situational legs under you. 40 games under you. You got your wind and all of that. But all in all, it was cool that people wrote letters for me to get a chance to come because the league was really. And then you had players like Mark Price who said I shouldn't get a chance to compete. And I was like, dude, we let a Russian come in here and shoot. You let Magic play an all-star game when he had AIDS and he hadn't played the whole season. We brought him back. So come on, man. It's been precedent set, so why shouldn't I get a chance
Right.
to shoot?
But going back to that particular weekend,
Mm-hmm.
when you competed in that 3-point contest, it was awesome seeing you compete. Like I said, I was a Craig Hodges fan,
Mm-hmm.
Bulls fan, all the stuff. It was awesome seeing you compete, but it didn't feel like that's the way it should have gone down. And what I mean by that is you went from being a high level role player to the Bulls to basically being phased out of the league well before your time. And I said all that to say this: when you hear things like Craig Hodges was blackballed from the NBA, what is your response to that statement?
Well, it's like the realization that okay, I saw what happened to John Carlos and Tommy Smith in '68 Olympics. I saw what happened to Muhammad Ali. I saw what happened to Kurt Flood. But do you think it's going to happen to you? And that's the whole thing about it, is that the positions that I took was no different than other players that taken before, athletes and entertainers. And the reality is that it can happen. Now, did I think it was going to happen at that period of time? Of course not. I was 32 years of age, 3 consecutive 3-point titles at All-Star Weekend, and 2 world championships. No one else in the history of the game has been in that position and hadn't gotten a job. In fact, nobody's ever been in that position before because nobody's ever done it. So to me, it was just a matter of the realization that, man, when October comes, I'm going to be in somebody's training camp. Now, when I get released on July 2nd or July 1st, I call the Players Association, and the head of the Players Association tells me right then that we need to find you an agent that a team owes a favor so they'll know you're not a bad guy. My question was, what did I do that was bad? Right. I've never been fined. I've never missed a plane. I never missed a bus. All right. I've been the player rep for the 4 teams I played on. I was a player rep as a rookie, which is unheard of. I was player rep on the last team when we won the championship. So what did I do that was bad based upon bad being? What is bad? Now, could it be a matter of me going to the White House and handing the president a letter? Did that play into it? And that's the part that is still somewhat unresolved, but it's some resolution coming to it very soon. But from that standpoint, it was just a matter of being able to see it for what it is, man. Once again, I don't care how much money a LeBron makes, a Kobe made, an MJ made. You are still an employee. We don't own that. So within the realm of that, know it for what it is. You work for the NBA. At any point in time, you can get fired from a job, right? So they can fire you. And they fired me. So if we look at it from those sheer realistic standpoints, you won't get caught up into the emotion of it. Oh, man, they did me this way. They did me. No, man. It's one, like Kevin said, it's going to be times when you're going to be up. You don't know up if you don't know down. You feel me? So them being able to take the rug from under me, and as far as I'm at the highest earning potential in my career, man. My union should have done something about that. Colin Kaepernick's union stood up for him. You feel me?
Yeah.
Even though it might not have been to the level that he got to, But they stood up for him to be able to say, yo, you can come over here and throw some balls and every team gonna be there to look at you. They gave you that opportunity. Whether you took it or not, that's on you. I would have loved for somebody to say, yo, Hodge, be at Memphis State University to hoop, and all 24 teams gonna be there. I'd have been like, where we at? Let's go. And I don't care who's there. It wouldn't have been like, oh, I need Kevin there to set a pick for me. I need Horace there. No, just let me come in and run. And that was my thing with college. When they gave you an opportunity, all of these demands that they were saying that you were calling for, whether it be I want this set of receivers or I want that, I'm like, brother,
just go do your thing.
When you came into the league, you didn't have that. When you came to your first combine, you didn't know who you were going to throw to. So why now do we have to have that? And it makes it a struggle for other times, man, when we can go and do this thing and go and do it. Like I said, I would have loved for somebody to say, yo, Hodge, come over here and hoop and let's go. Man, I'd have been ready for it. Now, where the chips fall, the chips fall. But I'm going to go out here and we're going to go at it.
Outside of money, you talked about it being a business and NBA players being employees. Outside of the fear of the money aspect and the backlash from that, why do you think more players aren't more into social advocacy and standing up for these type of things? Is it strictly the money, or is it lack of education, or just not caring, or just being disconnected?
Let's go to your second point, man. Everybody ain't studied it. Everybody ain't studied this. Not. You feel me? And to study about Black people isn't profitable. You feel me? So it's not something that somebody gonna go into college. What you gonna do? I'm gonna study Black studies and I'm gonna make $1 million. No. You feel me? And the reality that this is something that you have to love, man. That you have to love. It's a certain level of research. And to me, it's like this. You know, people would ask me when I was going through things, hey man, what you think about this athlete or that? Man, they didn't study what I studied, bro. So I didn't expect Horace, Gotti, and MJ to know the historical perspective that I was based upon. So, but when I find the information, I'm gonna share it with you. I might have to spoon feed it to you, but it's not a matter of me saying, oh, I know everything. No, it's a matter of the historical record has to be preserved and who's willing to do that. I was blessed to be part of that faction and part of that fabric to be able to say, I want to make sure that our history is preserved, man. You feel me? And I want to be a part of that preservation of it. I don't want to be somebody that says, man, later for what Dr. J and them did, later for what Tommy Smith and them did, later for what Paul Robeson did. I'm in a vacuum now. You feel me? And that's where we come in, and that's where we have such a lack of unity, is that we feel as though we came down in a vacuum, that we have no historical past, we have no historical connection to the past. How? You standing here on somebody's shoulders, man. You standing here on the oppression of somebody that paid a price for you to earn these large dollars that you earning, that they were never able to capture, because it was an era where we know, like John Carlos told me, he said, Hodge, when I saw you go to the White House, I knew that was one of the seeds that we had planted back in '68. You feel me? So the reality of knowing that we're doing something, but we don't know what the actual outcome is going to be 25, 30 years from now. But I got to hold this line now, because if I don't, it's surely not going to be here 25 years from now.
I wanted to say something to you. You know, I know you were talking to Craig about that, but I was sitting my mind was just racing about what he was just talking about when it comes to today's athletes. You know, I was a young person when all this was going on, but this was pre-internet, pre-social media, so pre-platforms, where people could actually shape the narrative and talk about what the real narrative is. Where before it was, if you spoke, the national media was able to take the narrative.
They would tell you what the narrative is.
And shape what they wanted it to be. So, and that was the thing that he was caught. I felt like, you know, Craig was caught in a time period that he was too far ahead of time to a certain degree about issues that were already people were talking about, but it wasn't mainstream to talk about. Where today athletes have a platform in the mainstream to talk about it, you know, avid through their social media shows, through podcasts, everything. So now it's socially acceptable now to talk about these issues in front of a broader audience.
Yeah, and not to cut you off, that's like Gil Scott-Heron told us, it won't be televised. That was before it was internet, okay?
Right.
So it ain't being televised on CNN and all of that, but it's being here. It's here, and it's in front of us, man. And that the reality of being able to play a part in that and being able to, want to play a role in it is critical, man. And now it's at that point where we can't say we don't have the money and the resources anymore. We got plenty. Yeah. When you look at one bus tonight going from the hotel to the arena, that one bus has at least 10 times the entirety of the civil rights budget of 1965. You feel me?
Come on, man. Yes, sir.
We was making moves. We was making moves with nothing. Now we got something and we can't make no moves. It's all a matter of education. And the education, I'm going to say the miseducation that we've gotten has us thinking that we can be so much like them. And when I say like them, I'm saying that elite group, that elite 1%, those billionaires. I want to be a billionaire. You know what I'm saying? That dumb to me. Because when I look at two of our greatest people in the game, MJ and MJ, Magic and Michael, all right? We leave the game and we go into billionaire class mode, all right? We go to billionaire. We go to the game and that's the competition in us. That's the athlete in us. I want this. So now I leave our game. Now what is it? It's the business game now. The business game is, okay, who gonna be the richest? Who gonna get there to the quickest? What is it? But the reality is, with your billions, how many lives could we effectively change that are least of us? It ain't about black people. It's about people who are struggling, that you can make a difference in their life. Do we choose to? And that's the part where they knew for me was this, that I told them, when I get my paper like these cats got their paper, you're going to see a difference in the city of Chicago. Because I don't need 25 million for my family. But I recognize with a $5 million contract, you're going to see a difference because I can leverage now. I can leverage $1 million here or $1 million there. And I might even be able to talk to some of my brothers to let's get together and leverage some things. And that was the part where I understood once it happened to me, oh, okay. They don't want you to get that bread because you already told them what you was going to do with it. And that might have been me being a little bit immature in my idealism of what I want to see Chicago to be, that I want to see my people not kill each other at a rate of 900 in 1991. 900 murders in the city of Chicago when we was winning, man. And not one of them millionaire brothers on my squad said a thing. And that hurt me, man. That I'm saying, oh, man, we winning here. My city is paying y'all. Y'all making money in my city, but we don't want to stay here after the season and talk to these young brothers and sisters and tell them, hey, we ain't got to shoot each other. We ain't got to do that. We can create some programs now because we are the world champions. But nothing comes out of it. Endorsement deals, but nothing on the programmatic end. Ridiculous.